Okay, my name is Dan Beert. I'm the chair of the Interior Design Program here at Bellevue College. Welcome. We are going to go through a few things just to give you information about the program, review advising some of the characteristics of the program, and answer questions that you might have. How many of you are here with previous degree or college credits? Hands? Almost all of you. Yeah. Now that's not unusual for our program. We have a diverse student body. We would call you non-traditional students because you're not just all right out of high school and without prior experience. So one of the things that really makes the program great. So because you already have college credits, there's going to be some questions about if you were in the program, where would you enter, how would you start, and so we'll go through that with you. Some of the highlights that you could look up in the advising guide relate to the degree options that we have available. There's actually 2 degrees. It's a 4-year curriculum, and we've designed this as a 4-year baccalaureate degree. But the way that it's set up here in Washington State is if you offer a bachelor's degree, you're offering a 2+2 degree. That's what they call it. So you complete 2 years, get an associate's degree, and then you have an option of going on to more advanced study in the upper level classes. So there's distinctions there in terms of applying, what's required to qualify for the 2 degree programs. A number of other things I'll go through today too. So there's also the faculty here, which is really unique. I taught for 7 years at a traditional university interior design program, and it was a more homogeneous student body. And I got to say, one of the things I really like is having students with experience and people who are here and motivated because they want to be here. A lot of times in regular 4-year school, you have people coming in not really sure what they want to do. They're 2 years into their degree, and then they're rushing through thinking they're going to be happy with interior design. Most of the students come to this program selectively. They've heard about the program, they're interested in interior design, they want to find out more, and so I think that also contributes to the quality of the program here. The faculty here are all practitioners. One of the differences also between us and the university is that we're a professional technical degree. We are an applied baccalaureate degree. And the distinction there is in what you'll see in the curriculum. In a traditional 4-year school, you're going to have a lot of general education requirements. Those of you who have previous degrees, you've done most of that already. But because we have fewer of those general ed, liberal arts requirements, we start students right away in their art foundation classes, interior design studios, lecture courses, and you're spending most of your time involved in what you came here to study. The faculty are different in that regard because we're not here to do research, although we do conduct our own professional development, pursue our interests, keep up on the research that's happening in the field. But we're not hired as researchers. We don't spend a predominant amount of our time researching. We're teaching. That's our mission. That's the college mission. So what you'll find different here then is you don't have teaching assistants teaching the first level classes. You actually have tenured faculty who are teaching everything in the program from the first classes all the way to the last. The other faculty in the program are practitioners, and the full-time faculty are too. Few of us have sort of come through the traditional academic route. In fact, I don't think any of the full-time faculty have. We've been practitioners and got into teaching because this is what we want to do. But because we're here in this Seattle area, it's a great environment to study interior design. There's so many resources available, and one of those is the faculty and the availability of faculty to teach. People who are qualified in specific areas, whether it be healthcare, retail design, people who are working in those areas and bringing current knowledge in. The contact that you have with the faculty and with the people that they bring in, their colleagues, their friends, to review your work, to participate in the classes and share their knowledge with you, all of that means that as an interior design student here, your career starts right in the classroom. You know, your contact with that professor is like contact with an employer. They're often the ones who are going to give you the recommendations as well. So it's a tremendous opportunity and great, you know, feature, I think, of the program to have that. The other thing is that because of the complexities of getting through a degree program and this 2+2 structure, and also because we want to be able to advise you on the career, your faculty, full-time faculty, are the advisors in the program. So you might consult with general advising about some things like a math placement test or something, but everything else you come through and you're assigned an advisor. And if you look at our department website, you'll see, you know, based on where you are alphabetically, you're assigned one of the 4 full-time advisors. So that I think is something that gives you a direct connection to career planning, curriculum planning, what's right for you. So part of what we're trying to do here, as far as advising, is to give you as much background, an introduction to the resources that you need, so that when you do meet with the advisor, it's more individualized. It's focusing on those things that are just dealing with your case, your background, your goals. So, you know, these professional connections are, I think, really one of the key features of the program. People frequently ask about placement. You know, what's your placement percentage? What are the chances of getting a job? We don't track that, and I think we should. And because bachelor's degrees are relatively new here at Bellevue College, we're just getting that department developed to be able to track that. But on the other hand, I think a lot of private colleges and for-profit colleges, they like to advertise their placement rates, and you know, I'm not sure how much of that is marketing and how much of it is truth. I will say this, that when people think about where to go in this area for interior design, and they go around and talk to the firms, they all say, come here. So it has a great reputation in the area. I think that you know, all of the variety of jobs that you have available in interior design are out there. Many people think about interior design coming in and doing residential design. That's usually our first contact with it. But there's so much more to do. You know, hospitality, where you're dealing with hotels and restaurants, nightclubs, resorts even, healthcare design and all of the different areas within that, senior living. All of these are kind of growth, projected growth industries, and we need places for people to participate in activities, to live out their life and improve the quality of their lives, and no matter what area it's in. If you're talking about the inside of a building, you're talking about interior design. So one of our jobs as interior designers is to you know, find out as much as we can about business, about how people live their lives, how businesses perform, what their goals are, and then as interior designers, we're trying to improve their quality of life, trying to help them achieve their goals through the facilities we design for them. So, you know, that's kind of a big overall picture of what we're trying to do. So while you're here, there's a lot of opportunities to get out and just do an informational interview with somebody. Hey, I'm interested in doing restaurant design. You guys do restaurant design. I'd just like to talk to you about what would it take for me to qualify for an entry-level position there. What are you looking for? And you know, people are great about that, because you know, that shows you're motivated. They don't have to worry about they're going to get you a job. It's just to sit down and talk. And you know, people love to talk about what they do, right? So you can share some information, come back to school prepared, a little bit more directed in what you want to do, and then you can look for internships and jobs, and get a chance to practice what's it like working in a small firm, what's it like working in a big firm, what's it like being a sales associate, what's it like working in a resource library. All those kinds of things can give you that practical experience while you're still in school. So there's just so many possibilities. Some people come into the program knowing exactly what they want to do, straight arrow all the way through 4 years, you know, and get out and get into that practice. Other people have a general idea of what they want to do, or discover as they're in the program something that they never thought they were interested in, and then they go and pursue that. Others might find that their career is set by what are the opportunities available when I graduate. Like for me, I didn't want to be a retail designer. That was the last thing I wanted to do. Crass commercialism, right? You know? But the best job available in Chicago at the time was offered to me in retail design. It's like, well, how could I pass it up? It was a great learning opportunity. I mean, I got to participate and work in developing design concepts, variety of projects from small shops to large department stores, working with graphic designers, color specialists, marketing specialists, lighting specialists. It was really great. But yeah, I didn't want to stick with it. I went from retail design into freelance illustration for a couple of years, and then worked my way into doing office planning and facility work. So I was working for, you know, like Kraft Foods and their headquarters and projects, banks in Chicago, that kind of thing. So sometimes it's just a matter of setting your foot on a path to go somewhere. And all of you being here today is just, even if it's tentative, you know, setting yourself in a certain direction. And then, you know, see where it goes. And I think one of the things that we try to do here in particular is to present as many opportunities as we can to you and tell you about those opportunities so that you can take advantage of them, so that you could help set your goals, figure out where you want to go from here. As students graduate, many of them stay connected, and as students are in the program, we have a number of ways that you can also be involved. You'll see in the advising guide information about our listserv. You don't need to be a student to belong to that. You find instructions in there about how to sign up for it. You're basically subscribing to get emails when we have news. So that news could include internships and jobs. It could be events happening on campus, course offerings, a number of different things. So it's a good way to stay in touch, find out what's out there. Graduates, you know, stay involved in it that way, and they see listings coming in for jobs. So you know, there's I think a real importance to that. Some of the things that you know, people want to know, just, you know, the nuts and bolts of it, is how much does it cost? If you look in the advising guide, you can see the program costs involved. There are two, because of the 2 degrees that we offer, there are 2 different tuition structures. One of the things that went along with the state approving the bachelor's degrees at community colleges was that we do not get state support for 300 and 400 level classes. And most people don't know this. If I'm paying $100 for an AA tuition, the state is giving the institution $100 matching. So the institution is supported by state funds in that way, and partly by your tuition. For the BA program, 300, 400 level classes, there is no state support. So when you see the cost structure and self-support, that's what that's about. So the tuition is about double the AA tuition for courses that are in the 300 and 400 level. One good thing about that is if you're out of state or an international student, it's the same price across the board for the upper level tuition. AA tuition, if you're an out-of-state student, it costs you more. If you're an international student, it costs you more. So it's actually got some advantages built in. Also, we have a number of different options available for financial aid and scholarships. One thing to keep in mind about financial aid, because it's a 2+2 degree, you can only qualify for one package at a time. So you have to be accepted to the BA program before you can get financial aid for the BA program. So that, you know, if you're considering a financial aid, that's something to talk with your advisor about. But you should be forewarned about that. A couple of things come up a little later. I'll tell you how that might be important. There are 4 interior design scholarships available. Every year, mid-April, look in the hallways for the information about signing up. We have money to give away, and we want to give it away for tuition. The Walter Bass Scholarship is a large endowment that pays for tuition for students for a full year, and there's multiple recipients every year. For some years, the foundation tells us, hey, we need more people signing up for this because we're not able to give all the money away that we have available. So, you know, avail yourself of those opportunities. Some of the, like the Quarter Family Scholarship is actually a work scholarship. So they pay for your books and supplies, but also offer you an internship. The Spencer DeMille and Charlotte Field Scholarship are both need-based scholarships. So the financial aid form, you need that when you apply. So they'll use that in calculating your qualifications. So anyway, if you go to the Bellevue College Foundation site and look at that, you can find out more information about those. But look ahead to next year if you're here in the spring for that, and take advantage of it. Other cost-related things. In the BA program, in the fourth year, we have what's called a capstone experience, right? It's a one-year studio experience where students pursue an individual thesis project. So it's an area of interest that you want to pursue, and you work on that alongside other students. You have 2 faculty advisors in that studio, but kicking off that first studio, there is a trip to Los Angeles every year, or every time 471 is offered. The cost for that is approximately $1,200. We've got a very detailed and tight itinerary, and costs are very predictable from one quarter to the next. So planning ahead, just thinking about that gives you some time to think about if you need to get that money. It's also one of those things that can help you in terms of financial aid qualification or scholarship qualification. When you apply for the scholarships, you can list this as a need. It's an extra additional thing that you don't typically have for tuition, books, and supplies and such. There are events that happen here that are every quarter nearly. The senior capstone review at the end of that senior thesis studio sequence, they have a review of their work. Basically, we put all of their projects up in the studio. We have a reception. Next one coming up is June 18th, and you're all welcome to attend. You can find information on our website about that. So basically, it's just, come in for 3 or 4 hours. You get a chance to see the student work. For students who are just starting off in the program, it's a great way to see where you're heading and what's possible, what people are producing in here. Also, every quarter, we usually have a speaker series. This year, we've had 2, but typically we'll do 3 throughout the year. So we try to bring in speakers, notable speakers from around the country, primarily the West Coast, because that's easy to find some great people up and down the coast, and in LA in particular. The foundation also has, we have an endowment from the woman's family who founded our program, Doris Katz. And this funds every year a visiting critic. So we bring in, again, somebody, notable designer, architect, to work directly with students and one of our other faculty members. So this year, Monty Freeman from New York City is visiting 3 or 4 times this quarter and working with the students in that residential studio. So they're working on a project for group housing, studying some different models of how that might look. You've heard about like apartments and dorms, and it's kind of a mix of that, but trying to take some of the downside out of that to try to find a better approach to that, shared living facilities and that kind of thing. So it's really interesting. We also encourage students to get involved, and employers encourage students to get involved in the community. We're a service industry. We're a service business. And part of that is serving the community in ways that people who can't afford the typical design services benefit from what we have to offer. There's a number of different things you can do. Some of this could be getting involved with the professional organizations. IIDA is the International Interior Design Association. ASID is the American Society of Interior Designers. Both of those professional organizations are very active in the area. The IIDA chapter here has won many awards nationally for the programs that they put on, and they're very involved with the students. So they want students to get involved, to volunteer. You can serve on committees with professionals, rub elbows with them. They've talked to me about how great it is to get to know prospective employees by working alongside them on these committees. So if you want to talk about placement, getting jobs, get involved. Get to work with these people, get to know them. It's a very tight, small community. You'll see people that you went to school with out there if you go to the events. It's a great way to network. You're going to spend a lot of time in this program with the same people. It's a real sense of community here. Part of this that helps is the Interior Design Student Association, IDSA, and they try to get activities going. They sponsor the speaker series, in fact, but they've done educational events for students on campus, many different things. But it's a great way to kind of form that bond that really will serve you when you get out there and start working. Also, getting involved in competitions, that's a great way to get your name out there and get noticed. That's how I got my first job, was participating in a competition and winning an award. And there's national competitions, there's local competitions, all of those help. After you graduate, we've had graduates come back to be guest critics in our studios. One of the things about interior design education is it's very active learning. You're sitting in here right now in what we call our crit room. And this is an unassigned space where the classes come in and they pin up all their work, and we do verbal presentations. You critique other students' works, they critique yours. The instructors bring in people and have a panel of critics. And this goes on throughout the program from year one. So bringing in students who are just recently out of the program is really great because they understand what you're going through. And they can give you some really good tips and advice as well. So that's a great thing, to do, to give back and help. And it's a part of, I guess, the ethic or ethos of our profession, that people do give back and they contribute. There are mentoring activities. For instance, the IIDA every year sends out a survey to professionals and says, how many of you are interested in inviting a student or two into your office for a day? And they gather up all the people who are interested in that. Then the students can actually log in as well and say, I'm interested in spending a day in a place that does retail design or does museums or whatever it might be. And then IIDA tries to match those people up, and you get to job shadow for a day at a firm. And so you're working or hanging out anyway around other people who are maybe people you went to school with who graduated. It's a great opportunity. Some of the bigger firms will sort of shuffle you around to different departments throughout the day, so you get a feel of the different areas that people are working in. Anyway, it's a great opportunity, another thing to keep your eye out for. Also, when you graduate, this survey we're talking about here, the SESRC, that's a survey group that gathers information from people who graduated from our program. So we're seeing, how many of them are working, how long have they been on the job, finding out about how the program was important for them. So that's one way we're trying to gather more information about placement and job postings and things like that. So getting into the program, the AA program is open enrollment. All you need to do is apply to Bellevue College. It's like a $35 application fee. It isn't asking for your transcripts, anything. You want to go here? Yeah. Okay. We have students in here who are still in high school, part of the Running Start program. And they're tremendous, the ones we've had in here. So you look at the schedule I'm going to go through with you, the course and sort of sequence of courses that you have to take. And then you look at the schedule for that quarter, plan ahead, see what fits in for you, get online and register. That's all there is to it. Now, transcripts, because a lot of you, not all of you, have transcripts from other colleges. One of the things that we like to do here is to get an idea from all of you. How many of you have, let's get to the finer cut right now here, have college level art or design classes or degrees? Okay, so the three of you probably should meet with me if you have time after the session just to see how that might affect the choice of classes that you take. Because we start with art foundation classes, you may have taken things that are equivalent to that, and that way you could scratch those off the list and jump to the next class. If you have an AA degree, a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, a PhD in anything other than design or art. You start the same as everybody else. There's a recommended course you begin with, the Intro to Interior Design class. You start with foundation art classes, and after you're in the program that first quarter, we can meet, go over the transcript, get an idea about which of those classes are going to satisfy which of our transcript requirements, and that'll give you an idea about general education requirements. In general, if you have an AA transfer degree, an equivalent of a transfer AA degree, something that prepares you for a four-year school, or if you have a bachelor's degree, you've probably satisfied all of the general education requirements. The only thing is, part of the general education requirements are 2 art history classes, one in the AA and one in the BA. So if you've had art history and some other degree, great, we could probably count at least one of those. So this is kind of like triage. It's like, okay, you're all coming in, you go over here, you go over here, you 3 meet with me after this, and we could talk about it. But the rest of you, if you've got no college credits, if you have prior degrees, plan ahead for the next quarter, sign up for the classes that you want to get into if you're interested, and then make an appointment with your advisor that quarter. So once you're in the classes, we can actually start looking at the transcripts and actually officially evaluating those. But until you're actually a student, they won't do the formal evaluation of the transcripts. Okay? But I can do a sort of a preliminary review with you, give you an idea. One other thing too, and a lot of people don't know about this, if you have previous college credits, Bellevue College uses something called a credit bank to determine when your registration time occurs. And it's kind of a seniority system. The more credits you have in your BC credit bank, the earlier your registration time. Now, this is not a credit evaluation. This is just a matter of taking your transcript up to the registration desk and saying, I'd like to have these credits applied to my credit bank so I can register earlier. They will just look at it, they will type in however many credits they can apply. There's a maximum of 60, and then they'll just hand it back to you. That's it. You're not asking for an evaluation, you're just dumping a load of credits into your BC transcript. So it won't affect your first quarter because you're just starting off. But the next quarter you'll get an earlier registration time because you'll be adding those credits to that credit bank. So very simple to do, but keep that in mind. It's a nice trick that most people don't know about. The BA application is different than the AA. This is selective admission. So number one, you have to have the qualifications. So if you've done the AA degree here, you have the qualifications to apply. If you have an AA or a BA in interior design or architecture or industrial design, you can apply directly to the BA program. You will need a portfolio as well. And on our website, you'll see all the requirements listed there, and you can find the link in the advising guide to the information about the application process. So there's an application fee that you pay online. We review the portfolios. We admit the students who are qualified. And the reason we're doing this is because we want to make sure that students are prepared for what we do in that upper division. We have studio classes, very demanding projects, requires a certain skill set. The AA degree does give you that. I mean, it's very focused on building skills in drawing, drafting, illustration, computer-aided design, digital design tools, wide variety of things. So you get it's enough practice to demonstrate that qualification. So also on page 9 in the advising guide, you'll see this recommended curriculum path. And on this slide, I've highlighted 5 courses: Interior Design 140, 171, 172, 273, and 280. You cannot get through the AA program any faster than you can take those 5 classes. You cannot take any of them at the same time. They are sequential. So if you're planning your curriculum and seeing, well, how quickly can I get through this? Unless you've had the equivalent of that 140 class, it's 5 quarters. And that doesn't count summers. We typically don't offer these classes during the summer. We'll do elective classes and maybe some of the other skill building classes. But as you can see, there's quite a bit here. But like if you've got a equivalent of those degrees we talked about, you've got these general ed, liberal arts requirements. You can scratch those off, move something else up on the list. But there are also prerequisites involved in this. Same thing goes for the BA. There are 5 classes that you must take in sequence. You'll see them listed here. They're highlighted. There are 3 studios you do in the first year of the BA, the 3rd year of our 4-year curriculum. You have a choice of a residential interior design studio, a commercial interior design studio, or an experimental studio. Every quarter it differs, but usually we're offering at least 3 studios each quarter. So depending on the schedule, depending on your interest, you can mix and match those. So that's why we have them listed with the X after them. Could be any of those 370 series courses. So you must do all 3 of those, and then the capstone sequence actually starts with design research, and then capstone 1 and capstone 2. Now, looking at how long it would take, these highlighted areas here, if you're able to take a full load and you have some general education classes out of the way, or maybe art classes that have transferred in, or design classes, just looking at 140, 171, 172, those 5, it's possible you could do that in 5 quarters. And then same thing with the BA. You can take the design research class while you're doing your 3rd studio. But you have to do 2 studios before you can take that research class. So it is possible to get through and accelerate it some, but when you meet with your advisor, you'll get a better idea. There's a lot of considerations involved in which classes we're offering in which quarter. Most of them are offered every quarter, so you can start anytime. Doesn't have to be in the fall. You can start in summer, fall, winter, spring, anytime. If you find yourself coming in with a lot of credits to apply to the AA degree, and you've got a hole in your schedule in that last year of the AA program, you can take BA classes, any of these. All you need to do is request an entry code. There's information in the advising guide about how to do that. But this allows you to kind of get a jump start on really important knowledge. Would it be great to learn about building systems and lighting before you get into the 3rd year? Great, but we can't put all these classes in the AA program. There's just not time to cover it all. So if you have the opportunity to take some of these earlier, do that, because it'll give you much better preparation for the 3rd year studios. Again, you could talk to your advisor more about that. So again, this is just recapping the things you need to know about prerequisites in the AA program. Those 5 classes I talked about up here have to be done in order. These 2 classes, 167 and 267, are digital design classes. So 167 covers Photoshop, a lot about managing digital projects and files. 267 is dealing with making presentations using digital media, and we're doing that a lot. Interior Design 262 is our CAD class. I don't know if you guys are familiar with AutoCAD or BIM or Revit. We use Revit, so we're teaching Revit in this 262 class. And you must take that class before you take 280, because there you're doing construction drawings, and you're using the Revit program to do that. So as you're planning the schedule, you want to be looking at these things and making sure that you get what you need so that you can move ahead at the pace that you need to. In the BA sequence, I was talking about that before, you can do one of the 3rd year studios with 440 at the same time. But another thing to keep in mind is that the capstone sequence, 471 and 472, we want students to do that as a package. So you can't do 471 in the spring and 472 in the fall with summer off. It creates some problems. We've had some problems with that. So this sequence is only offered fall, winter, or winter, spring. So what I like to do is sit down with students and do a little worksheet with them and say, okay, let's take those 5 classes that we need to take through the 280 class, and then, okay, while I'm in the 280 class, I can apply to the bachelor's program. Now, what other classes do I need to fill in around those to make this possible? And same thing with the BA classes. You start looking at that and seeing, oh, I'm ready to take Capstone 1, but it's spring. It's not offered in the spring. So that means I've got to put that off till fall, you know. There's other things involved, like courses that are only offered once or twice a year. I'm going to skip through this because I can show you how to find out what quarter these are offered. On our website, for the interior design website, and I'll give you a quick look at that, there is a posting of our projected schedules for the year. So when you go to that site, you can download this PDF file, and this shows you all the courses in the AA and BAA program. You've got Monday, Wednesdays in blue, Tuesdays, Thursdays in green. Each of these has a room. So we've got room assignments, we've got instructor assignments. You can see what's going to be offered in the coming quarters. So right now we're just about to submit the winter schedule for next year. We'll have the spring schedule for next year soon after that. So you know, that gives you the ability to look ahead and plan that worksheet. So if you go to the Bellevue College homepage, there's a link at the top here, right above the search field, called Online Services. This is kind of my go-to advice, you know. If you're looking for anything helpful, it's a good place to start. So there's information about registering for classes, you know, how to find out when your registration time is, how to log in, information about how to, you know, look at your records and grades, you know, your student ID and PIN number information, registrar forms and things like that. Also, we use an online system called Canvas, so all of your classes, in fact, will have an online portal where the instructor will be offering instruction as well as resources too for you to check in. Now, the interior design program, easiest way to find it is if you go to the BC homepage and just in the address line at the top, just type /interior design, and that takes you to our department webpage. This has a lot more detail than you're going to find just looking through the program description in the Bellevue College pages. So there's information about upcoming events that you'll see here. On the left-hand side, you see prospective student links and current students. Under prospective students, you'll see information that we've gone over today, a lot of that. A link to the advising guide. You already have a hard copy. If you want a digital version of that, we have that there as well. It has all the application instructions for the BA program, et cetera. So if you're considering applying, that information is there. The current student information, this also gives you a link to, you know, how to get onto the listserv. There's instructions here. The class schedules I was talking about, if you click on that link, and here's our fall 15 schedule. So this will open up a PDF here. You can print that out or save it to your computer and look at it. Information about costs and assistance. The information I just skimmed over about which classes are offered which quarter, that's also on here too. So we try to put as much as we can on our department site to help you out and give you the advising resources. You know. So check in there if you have questions first, and then if you can't find an answer, email your advisor. Or another thing you can do is contact our program manager, Margaret Worth, and you'll see contact information for her on the department website as well. And she's working, you know, 5 days a week here and, you know, ready to answer questions and when the faculty aren't available. Many of the advisors are in class all day long and may not be available when you're looking for an answer, and Margaret is there to help you out if you are. So I think that's the gist of it. A lot of detail to absorb. You have resources you can look at and find out more information. But you know, wanted to see if you have specific questions that I can help you with. Yeah.
Do the majority of students come in and get the AA and then apply to the bachelor's program, or do they just take the AA and go on board?
Students we're finding that students who come into the AA program now are planning to do the whole 4-year program. Typically what ends up happening with students who just get an AA, sometimes we get people who already have design experience. They've been doing residential design on their own. They want to come in and build up some skills. They already have a bachelor's degree in something else. It's like, that's all they're looking for. But if it's like your first career, your first degree, the AA degree is only going to get you so far. You know, so I think the BA is really the qualification most firms are looking for. And it also gives you more time to practice, you know, and all that studio work you do in the 3rd and 4th year. That really helps develop the portfolio. And the portfolio is what really gets you the job. That and you. I mean, that's an important thing too. You know, you're going to have 2 people bringing in great portfolios, but, you know, they're also interested in you and, you know, what you bring to it. Can you talk about it? All of that. Yeah. Anything else? Yeah.
Do a lot of people, like, is this like full time? Do a lot of people like work?
Yeah. Do people go full time or yeah?
Like,
we actually have. Yeah, we actually have people who take quite a while. I was just talking to a student who was on the 10-year plan. So she has a family, she works, she's taking 1 class at a time, taking a quarter off when she needs to. You know, so that ability to take almost all the classes every quarter gives you that ability to get in and out of the program. So also what happens a lot of times is by the time people get into the 4th year, they may have taken all the classes that they need except for their final studio classes. And they might have done an internship someplace which turned into a part-time job, which they've been promised a full-time job when they get out. So yeah, we have a lot of people working and going to school at the same time.
Is it possible to still like do this and then also work, or is it like full like the weekdays? Are they just like?
Yeah, you know, as much as possible we try to address the fact that we have people who are working. One of the things we try to do, you know, of course, that flexibility of offering almost all the classes every quarter. The other is that where we can, we try to make sure that a class is offered during the day and at night, at least once a year. There are some classes where we're restricted. You know, we've got a professional who's teaching our Revit class. She's amazing. That we can't replace her. I hope we don't have to, but she can only teach at night. Some others have a similar restriction, can only do it during the day. So where we can, we'll mix it up. But there's enough information up there for you to plan ahead, maybe work with an employer. Kind of depends on, you know, the job you're in. Yeah.
Cool. Maybe parents like that, like on weekends.
Yeah. And we don't have a weekend program. That's not something we're offering, but yeah.
What is this class, the second half of the year of the AA program called Quantitative Skills? What is that?
Oh, okay. The quantitative skills requirement is a general education requirement. So that's one of the 25 credits in general ed for liberal arts. So you have a number of options. They have to be 100-level math or higher. Then I think there's a philosophy 120, a logic class that you can take. So as far as the math classes go, you know, there's placement exams that you can take, and you know, find out where you place, you know, which class you need to take to get into that. But yeah.
Okay, and does that have to be taken the second half of the year? Even like it says here, it's
oh yeah, actually, yeah. Where these general education classes are shown on that class list, you can take those anytime. They don't have to be, you know, in the last year. You could even do all the gen eds when you first start and just get those out of the way. They're great to do during the summer as well. You know, so if we're not having a required class, you can take your gen ed classes in the summer and focus on that different language. Yeah.
There was a lot of mention about different organizations in the area.
Right.
I'm looking at moving when I'm done with this program. Is a lot of these organizations kind of nationwide or?
Yeah. IIDA and ASID are both national organizations. Actually, IIDA is international. So yeah, there'll be chapters in, you know, major cities, and ASID typically focuses more on the residential side, though not exclusively. And they have great research and great job placement resources as well. They come out with a survey every year about the career and where it is and where it's going. IIDA focuses a lot more on commercial buildings, so yeah. So that's a great way to get involved if you can take that, you know, to another city. Yeah.
Is Intro to Interior Design not offering this summer?
It's not this year. We do typically offer the Intro to Interior Design class in the summer, but the instructors that we have some obligations this summer, and we weren't able to do it, unfortunately. Yes?
Any of the courses require specific software or hardware?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, do you need software and hardware to get through the program? We do have 2 computer labs now, and the capstone class has its own studio with some computers in there too. The advantage of that is that we have all the software you could need in there. The disadvantage of it is if you are trying to work a busy schedule around your schoolwork, having it at home is extremely helpful. We use Adobe Creative Suite or Creative Cloud now. And as a student, you can, I think it's you can get a student discount. It's a subscription now. I think it may be like $30 a month that you pay for that, but you get access to all of their software, which is great. The Revit program, free. If you're a student, and it's like a $3,000 or $4,000 professional program. So you can use that for free if you're a student. What other things? SketchUp, a quick 3D modeling program we use frequently, and that one very inexpensive and very robust. You can use a free version. It has some limitations, but not much. If you're just learning the program, very accessible. As far as the hardware goes, we're using PC here. You can use a Mac. Most of the software runs on a Mac except Revit. So if you're using a Mac, there are these dual operating systems you can have installed. So it's possible to do a PC emulation on a Mac and run Revit. But 2 things you're going to really need, I think 2. Definitely as much memory as you can get on the computer. And think about this if you're just starting off, something that's going to be as good 3 or 4 years down the road as it is now. So investing in the hardware now is really important. So RAM, 8 megabytes, or 8 gigabytes, or 16 gigabytes. 8 would be ideal, 16 would be even better. Make sure that the graphic card, if you're familiar with that, make sure that it is OpenGL compliant. OpenGL is a software language that lets the CAD programs talk to the graphic card so it can paint the screen and you can do 3D revolutions, seamlessly and things like that. If it has onboard memory, even better. NVIDIA and AMD both make really good cards that are typically compatible. The other thing is, if you can, get the fastest multi-core processor you can. A little bit of extra speed makes a huge bit of difference in running these different programs. So if you're able to get that, the software helps a lot. Take advantage of what we have here, open lab times as well. Between that and home, you should be pretty well situated, yeah. We're doing a lot more digitally than we are by hand anymore, which is a shame in some ways, but there's only so much time to cover. Any other questions? Yeah.
I thought I remember reading on the site that internships were required. Is that for the
Yes.
AAA?
That's for the BA. Internship is it's a 3-credit class, and it's essentially you're signing up and paying to get credit for your work experience. You're not attending a class, but we have a lot of resources that we can give you to help you find the internship. The listserv, just keeping your eye on that, and then it's just a matter of documenting the experience and having that turned in at the end. Yeah. So it's 150 hours. That's the requirement. 150 hours minimum. Other questions? Okay.